Hello guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Welcome back to another video by the Continuing Life System. I'm Lena, and today we're going to be talking about types of DOMs. Now, this is not a catch-all. These are just some generalized types. There are more than just these. I myself am actually still learning about all the different types. And again, just because you watched my videos does not mean that you're going to turn into some BDSM master. These videos are literally here to help teach you about BDSM in general. First, dominant. Dom, Domme, Domme. I've heard it pronounced multiple different ways, as I mentioned earlier in one of our other videos. The dominant is someone who takes control. Now, someone who just calls themselves a dominant or a dom typically is not in a 24/7 relationship, but they could be. It's kind of used as like this broad term to indicate, like I said earlier, the person who takes control. It's kind of like an umbrella term almost. Daddy, mommy. These are doms who typically have littles as subs. However, they also can have pets. You can kind of see them as very parental. And these types of doms may or may not be in a 24/7 relationship. Pet trainer. These are dominants who typically has a pet for a submissive. They can kind of be seen as a pet parent, and to those of you who have pets at home, yes, you understand what I mean by pet parent. And just like the daddy, mommy, they may or may not be in a 24/7 relationship dynamic. Master, mistress. This dominant typically has a slave for a submissive. They can be seen as very strict, very hard, and these types of relationships are usually 24/7. Trainer, a dominant who helps train a new dominant and or submissive. Some have a submissive of their own, while others do not. And some of these are actually professional dominants, like they do this for a living. However, a trainer does not necessarily mean professional dominant, which I will kind of explain later on what a professional is. Professional, a dominant who gets paid to scene with a sub or multiple subs. They may also scene with another dominant. It could be another professional dom, or it could be the submissive that they are doing the scene with. It could be their dom. They just wanted to add something else to the scene. And as I said earlier, these professional doms may train new dominants and or submissives. Rigger. These are dominants who kind of specialize in tying their submissive up using ropes and other types of implements like that. They can be on the ground, they can be hanging from something, it can be full body, like a chest harness, or it could be just like a piece of their body, like a leg is tied to a post. The possibilities are endless. Sadist. Someone who derives pleasure, especially sexual gratifications, from inflicting pain and or humiliation on others. Needless to say, these are dominants that some people think are like really mean and quote unquote cruel. We use this term a lot in our vanilla lives, or at least I know I do. I've been called a sadist because I've been seen as quite cruel. However, it's not why I do it. But sadist is kind of this catch-all term that can be used for dominants and submissives. It's not, oh, if you're a sadist, you have to be a dominant. Oh, you're a sadist, you have to be a submissive. No, you're either a sadist or you're not a sadist. You can almost think of it like a type of fetish if you want to. Masochist. Someone who derives sexual gratification from their own pain or humiliation. Again, I am someone who has been deemed a masochist because sometimes I help my doms plan out my demise. And I do this on accident. And after I've said it, I realize it. And I go, dang. And typically, one, if not both, will kind of giggle and laugh at me. These are typically seen as submissives. Like, that's why you typically can have a sadist dom and a masochist sub together, because they work. However, dominants can also be masochists. And you do have those some few people who are actually both sadist and masochist. And we kind of combine the terms to sadomasochist, which, if you can't already tell, I am a sadomasochist. It's super fun and super exciting, but you don't have to be one or the other to be considered a dom or a submissive. Now, kind of a little note here. A dom can be more than one type. So you can have someone who is a pet trainer, but also a rigger. You can have someone who is a daddy dom, but also a master. And just literally, if you can mix and match, it's a combination. A dom can have 0 subs, which can be seen a lot in doms who are professional doms, or you can see where they have multiple submissives. It all depends on what works best for them. Even a daddy or mommy dom or a pet trainer can be very strict. That it's not limited to being a master or mistress. And master and mistresses may not be seen as, your typical almost drill sergeant, evil sadist type person. I know that probably surprises people. My master is actually not super quote unquote strict. There are certain things that I have to do it just like he said and how we've agreed upon, but there are other things that we can kind of fudge on, whereas other masters and mistresses may not let you do that. And then same thing with my daddy. Sometimes I have things that I can kind of splurge on and he's okay with, and then there are other things there is no splurging of any kind. And as I kind of hit on earlier, not everyone is a sadist or a masochist. Some can be one or the other, or even both. And some people, they kind of like to play around with it on occasions, but they don't, or they just flat out don't enjoy it whatsoever. They're like, nope, this is not for me. Don't humiliate me. Don't do this to me. And that's perfectly fine. That's all part of their submission and their dominance. Now, yes, I am going to put fake dominance in this list as well, because there are people who pretend to be dominants. And so just as a little reminder to kind of remind us all to be aware of these types of people, they are someone who pretends to know all about BDSM, but in reality, they don't. They typically ignore safe words and gestures, as well as limits and boundaries that have been set. They have done little to no research on any part of BDSM, and they have little to no regard for submissives, including those who already have a dominant. And they typically will be also disrespectful to other dominants. And what I mean by including those who already have a dom, when it comes to subs, most doms have a rule about once they are owned or they are collared and they are essentially bound together, it's almost like a marriage, that you do not have other doms. I mean, you can almost think of it as a normal relationship. But these fake doms will go in knowing that the sub is already claimed by somebody, and they'll be like, oh, we can just play, no one has to know. And so you can almost think of them as your vanilla cheater types. if you kind of want to combine the thought. That way it's easier for you to pick them out. But yeah, just know these exist, be aware, and be very cautious. And that is kind of all for today. I know this is probably not what everyone wanted to hear me talk about, but I did want to kind of give you a quick summary / overview over the different types of dominance, and to just remind you that there are multiple different types, and a dominant can be multiple different types of dominance, and that's perfectly fine. And not next week, but the week after, we will be doing one on the types of submissives, which will be set up probably very similarly to this one. We hope you all enjoy. If you like this video, please hit that like button. If you want to hear more from us, please hit subscribe and ring that bell so you get notified. Remember, any and all support helps us and other YouTube channels like us to kind of help end this stigma around BDSM and to kind of help educate people. That way they don't think all the lies that they've been told. We really want you to understand and know the truth about BDSM. Until next time, guys.